Okay, got it.
And then of course there's freedom.
Oh yeah, I'll take that. Okay, that's fine. Sorry. Sorry about that, everyone.
Testing. Hey, hello.
We totally.
Hello. Sibilance.
It's the start of the panel. It's way too early for you to have a drinking problem.
Honey, I've had a drinking problem for a long time.
I remember 16.
Ladies, gentlemen, both and neither, welcome to Convention War Stories. Oh boy.
Woo.
For those of you who don't know what you're about to get into, the people who are joining me up on stage have not just spilled a bunch of water in front of them, except for me. There we go. Good job. We have been convention organizers helping out with conventions for, just looking at this group up here, a combined total of over probably 40 years just with the people sitting up on this stage. And we have one more person that might be joining us. We've been doing this for a long time, and why do you do it? Do you do it for the love? No. Do you do it for the sense of accomplishment? No. Do you do it for the lulls? Yeah. You do it for the stories, because behind the scenes things happen. And to let you in on the trick to this panel, what our one rule is the stories must be more than 2 years old.
Minors allowed. Wow.
The stories must be greater than 2 years old, and we will not be using names for the most part. So,
Which is great, because we can do stories from our last convention, because it's been more than 2 years.
we have a small Twitter group that's like behind the scenes of this. Like, can you believe how easy the next convention war stories will be? I'm like, nothing has happened. They're like, dude, you forgot about 2019. Oh, God. So, before we begin, I would like to introduce the panelists that are already here. We're going to have you introduce yourselves, because I'd also like you to say what panels you work for. So, Des, please do your introduction.
What panels I work for?
I'm sorry, what convention? I have been on such a fucking...
Hello, I am Pandez. I was previous vice chair of this convention for about 5 years. I've been on staff for Indy FurCon for over 10 years, of which I have served 4 as chair.
This is where you
That's
clap.
where you clap. Or cry on my behalf.
I am sorry. We're
Okay, Jeb Bush.
Fur, would you
My
please
name's
introduce
Fur.
yourself?
I have the most original name in the fandom. I've worked...
Thank you, Fur.
You're welcome.
Thank you for inventing the fandom.
You're welcome. I want to turn that into a horror story, but no, I do. I'm best known for my role as the Twitter guy for First Squared. I've also worked for IFC, MCFC, all those like Midwest conventions that kind of look the same.
You live in Florida.
I do live in Florida, where for a couple of years I was one of
Florida
the AV
man.
directors for not Megaplex, MegaCon, which is a little bit fun. I've got some stories from that one. And then I kind of just bounce around doing AV for a whole lot of conventions. Usually I'm working this one, but I said, screw you guys this year.
Oh, now they hate us.
They didn't before?
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry, they've got a refreshing drink backstage for you. It's a Capri Skickle.
We haven't got to the stories yet. Shut up, Des. Cryo, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Cryo. I was smart and didn't actually run a con. I was also very dumb. I run the logistics department for AC. No sympathy. That is my subordinate.
That is your mate. Do not call them that.
Yes,
No, they like that
he
when
is
they
my
call it that.
subordinate and
Don't
soon
kink shame.
to be my other half.
Aww.
2 more weeks.
It could still be a
Really?
No. That would have given us good stories.
Yeah, what a...
stories you already have.
But thankfully, his parents are paying for everything.
How did you pull that off?
I'm good.
No, you're broke. All right. My name is Alkali. I was the con chairman for First Squared for about 7 years. I run a lot of conventions outside of the fandom as well. I apparently just hate myself because that's how this works. So, Des, you've already mentioned the dickle what? What did you do?
Capri Skickle.
All right, so please feel free. Oh, God.
So this is literally from about half an hour ago.
There are rules!
I don't care.
I asked him, what stories would you like to know? He goes, it's about a pickle-sicle. I said, fine.
It's Capri Skickle. So somebody shared a video with me of how to make a Capri Skickle. You hollow out a pickle, add in your Skittles, add in your Capri Sun, put in the straw, drink, and then when you're done, it's a tasty snack. I shared this with the Motor City staff chat. Our head of AV replied, "Oh God, this is horrifying." Several board members replied, "What I do not like is mid-con glancing at my phone and seeing the preview of the staff chat with our head of AV saying, 'Oh God, this is horrifying. Please stop, Des.'" And then just a whole bunch of pictures of spray bottles. That's what I do at this con.
All right, if the story's about you, you can go into the 2 years, I guess. That's fine. I have a question for you.
What's that?
When I asked you what stories would you like to tell, you giggled maniacally and said pizza at First Squared. I recognize First Squared as my convention, but I'm not aware of a pizza story. Fucking discuss.
So this is a fun story about how, you know, when you tell a story to someone or something happens, someone will embellish it a little bit and it will go on further and it will go on further until something magical and insane has actually occurred out of nothing.
Yes.
Okay.
So I had 2 good roommates, and I've roomed with them at, I think, 6 or 7 First Squares at this point. Commissar, I'm not supposed to say names. Nah, screw it, he can get involved with this one. Great friend of mine. But as you know, First Squared is in February, and it gets cold, and you don't really want to go anywhere. And when you're tired of the mall across the street, you really have no good food options. So we decided, we'll just get a couple of pizzas and we'll eat that through the convention. That's a very normal thing to do. But we realized we don't want to have cold pizza through the convention. So he brought a pizzazz pizza reheater. It's this very small appliance. It's a little. Yeah, that was me. You're welcome. So
You're part of my staff.
We've got the pickle thing
we
on the
bought
screen
a
right now.
pizzazz pizza reheater. It is a small appliance. I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's on the infomercials all the time. You spin it around and one little section, it reheats your pizza. We bought this and we brought it to the con thinking this will be a great way to just reheat our pizza.
Oh, did you?
So, what I didn't realize was every single day at First Square, the convention, the hotel staff and our Dorsai, they go through the rooms just for a safety check. They want to make sure that no one's there passed out. There's no one doing anything illicit.
There's no shit smeared on
There's
the wall.
no shit smeared on the wall. I too have been to an anime convention.
Wait, hold on.
No. Continue.
Absolutely normal things. And also one of the other things that we do at conventions are put signs on our wall, our door signs. We put door signs, we just, little drawings of our characters. Just, it's a nice little thing. Someone takes it home as the memento. So we had our characters on the wall, blue painter's tape, totally fine. And we just have a note left on our table. It said, "Lose the pizza oven." Signed D. Irregulars. I don't know why they signed it like that. That was so weird.
The Dorsai Irregulars.
No, D. Irregulars. Either Dorsai Irregulars or DI. Don't abbreviate half of it.
I don't know how to spell Dorsai.
DORSAI.
Fuck off.
So we had the fear of God struck into our hearts. It went into the car. It never came out again. What we did do was we drew little pizza maker hats on our characters and changed our name from the First Squared Gangs to First Squared's comma, parenthesis, pizzeria. Just a fun little joke. And I didn't realize what had happened because the Dorsai who found us had to report that up to a managerial Dorsai? Managerial eye?
Managerial.
Magi?
The Magi, yes. The Magi. I heard they have good gifts. Who then has to report it to the head of the Dorsai, the head the Dorse head, who then writes it into a logbook and a permanent record of what happened at the convention. What had gone from us having a pizzazz, a small thing, had turned into, we discovered a group of furries hosting an illicit pizzeria, complete with fully functional pizza oven.
And that is the report I got after the convention, and had no idea who it was referring to until this very moment.
2 years from now, please expect the convention horror story where Alkali throttles me backstage.
I'll give it 2 years at least. If I'm nothing, I'm respectful.
Backstage?
Brian, I'm going to throw to you in a second, but since we're on Dorsai logs are one of my absolute favorites because if you are a convention chair or an organizer, at the end of the event you do get the Dorsai log, and they're very professional, they're very thorough, but they're also friends of ours. They're the Dorsai, so yeah, they're kind of sarcastic and they're fun. And at IFC, there's an entry that they still have. Every Dorsai knows this entry. Police called due to vagabond panhandling in the lobby. The police were walking through IFC and saw a large group of people hanging around, went to the operation, said, hey, there's a guy sitting out there with a bunch of people around literally collecting money and just yelling at them. They're like, oh my God, really? What does he look like? And they said, well, he's got a black coat on, he's putting things into a top hat. They said, oh, that's our director of finance, Alkali, don't worry about it. The Dorsai are in the room like, no, this has been reported, we do need to take care of it. And every Dorsai brought the police over to me. It's like, sir, what are you doing? And I'm just like, my job. So in the Dorsai log, they had police incident with Alkali. He was doing his job.
How am I supposed to follow that?
All right, you want me to tell them the other time the Dorsai got me? I threw a room party. Imagine how happy they were when I opened the door. I get open the door, there's Rennie looking very serious, and he sees me, he goes, I got you. Like, I'm sorry, we'll calm it down. He's like, no, you're going to quiet it down. We'll all be up after shift. So I continued the party until most of the Dorsai could join us. And when they joined, what do you think? The Dorsai here, we're immune to noise complaints. Here comes the next shift of Dorsai. Now it's me and Rennie standing at the door. She's standing there, what the hell is going on? Rennie goes, party! I'm in their log a few times.
A few?
A few.
As much as Kage?
No one is in the Dorsai log as much as Kage. No, I'm sorry, there is one person in the Dorsai log more than Kage, and that's his mother. If you ever get invited to a Grandma Kage party, let me regale you with one of my favorite Grandma Kage moments. Kage has to do an opening speech at Anthrocon. He has to bring in the staff and go, hey guys, this is what's expected this weekend. And if you've been part of Anthrocon for a long time, we've heard the speech 100 times, you go because you should, but you go in the back and you're polite and you're quiet. I'm standing there, and here comes Grandma Kage in her scooter, like an 18-point turn, because she's not good at that scooter. She's slamming it into the wall repeatedly while Sam is trying to talk. Excellent.
She's good at the scooter.
No, she's good at the scooter forward. Exactly. Backward, she's really bad.
Well, you don't drag backward.
Yeah, could. It'd be interesting. So I'm standing there, and who's, by the way, is a very good friend of mine, so this is totally okay. I'm standing there, and I feel a hand in my pocket. And look down, and it's Grandma Kage pulling out my first flask. And she untwists the lid, and she goes, oh, wait. I'm like, oh, that's my tequila. So, and puts it back. And reaches up to another pocket and pulls out a book. She kept going until she found my Everclear. And now I'm laughing so hard that Sam stops the thing. He's like, Alkali, is there something you would like to share? And his mother goes, no! He shut up at that point. So that's my time. Sorry about that. Cryo.
Yes.
I have two here from you. Cryo, a lot of conventions have to deal with a lot of background stuff for finance. Conventions have a lot of different rules in different states. And in fact, your convention has one of the strictest laws involving receipts and what you need to do with, let's say, cash registers. Cryo, would you tell us a story about cash registers?
Sure, yeah. So we used to have a huge bank of cash registers, lots of them, and some of them are pretty old, all right? However, one year, when we were going through all the receipts that Pennsylvania makes us have to do, one of them decided to get uppity, and it started speaking French. And we're going, does anybody speak French? Where is Kage? He's not here. So we finally get the register. We're going, what is it trying to do? And finally someone decides, well, what if you just put 1? Just key in 1? Yeah. Okay, it worked. All right, we can get the receipts. Is this going to be a problem? Yes. Great. Save that one. And so the next con at AC, we have a actually we have 3 very large trash compactors. And so we decided that we were going to take that register. Oh, if you displease us, the stuff crew has access to very large industrial trash compactors.
Hey, Sam, you need to talk to your logistics crew.
He's aware of it.
Never mind.
He was spearheading it.
Yeah, he was. He says,
I want trash pandas.
I want this register to be gone. And I go, how gone do you want it to be? I never want to see. Okay. Gentlemen, may I please have a moment of silence for the condemned?
Oh my God.
We had a vigil. There were candles.
There were cameras too, weren't there?
And cameras. And we yeeted the thing into the trash compactor as then one of my crew held up a phone app and played taps. And then I pushed the button. Oh, what a melodious sound. Don't fuck with us.
Allow me to explain the facial expressions you are seeing on this stage right now. One of us has to sign insurance forms, and one of us is terrified about what they just heard. Do not play with heavy machinery at a convention! No!
Where do you think we get the forklifts
Oh,
from?
Jesus Christ.
And I still have my scooter.
I know you have the scooter. Hey, I'm fat. I like you having the scooter. Every once in a while, I'll have to get somewhere at AC, and I don't know how this one knows, but I'm like, damn, I have 10 minutes to get across all of Anthrocon, and all of a sudden, skidding out of a cloud of smoke and blood comes like a souped-up golf cart, and this motherfucker, I'm just riding it up to me, he runs over both my feet, like, ding, ding, want to ride? I'm like, yeah.
And as we're going, we're shouting, whee!
The whole time. I believe we have one of this gentleman on the back of it doing that throughout all.
Kicking my feet.
I like the addition of smoke and blood.
Smoke and blood is all you do.
I know.
Smoke and blood.
I murder.
Alkali.
Yes.
Our 6th is here.
Yes, where?
Over here.
Ah, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jake the Bunny!
Hey.
Jake, you weren't here for introductions. Could you please tell them who you are and what you've done for conventions? That's yours.
I am Jake Bunny. I am the fastest bunny in the world.
Why? While you're late.
I am a current and former.
They got you there.
Touche. Touche.
Hashtag latest bun.
I am a former and current. Well, I'm a current professional driver. So I have worked for conventions since 1998. Everything from charity to operations.
You're old.
Yeah, I know.
Operations.
Operation.
Operations, yes. IFC this year was I deemed it operations, and everybody complained. I said it's going to happen anyway. So.
Oh my God. The puns hurt so good. Well, Fur, I have a question for you.
What's that?
What flies?
Dildo.
Me.
All right, well now we know what flies, so what doesn't? Your turn. I knew you'd know it. I knew you'd know it.
Oh man, the distinguished gentleman in the room. I'm calling you
I was
old.
going to say, I was like, wait, what?
So, who here has been to MFF, Midwest Fur Fest?
Woo!
Who here is familiar with just that hotel, the Hyatt Regency?
Woo!
It's a fantastic hotel, and it's very large. It's next to the convention center. It holds several conventions through the year, including several large anime conventions. Who here has heard of ACEN? Anime Central. It's held in the same hotel as MFF, and it's been there for several years before MFF. And if you think that furries are the only group of people that get rowdy, you are very, very sorely mistaken. Let me explain the demographic shift between furries and anime. Furries are mostly older people who have at least been out of the house a couple of times before they go to the convention. People who are able to, say, order meals at a restaurant without, needing chicken dino nuggets.
Incorrect.
That is true. I said mostly.
Oh, so
You did define that
I
one.
missed your color.
Yes.
Just by math, you're like 3% of the convention, so I have to add that
absolutely.
asterisk.
No, I get that, yes.
So, anime conventions are very much a younger audience. You see a lot of kids at a hotel alone for the first time ever. You see a lot of high school age kids. You see a lot of people who just really, it's their first time being outside social, like away from mommy and daddy. It's like going off to summer camp, but kind of cheaper and more colorful.
I resemble this remark.
Summer rave camp.
Yeah. So, Anime Central's, it's at the same hotel as MFF, so if you've been there, you know. It's this giant atrium with the hotel rooms all the way around and this big open space in the middle. There is a stairwell that has glass in it that is just gorgeous. It's one of the most, pretty lobbies I've seen, at any, hotel. And you can, if you're up on the higher floors, on the 8th or 9th floor, you can just look down. You can see this, just everything, and you're 8 or 9 stories up. So there was a family, or there was this group of kids, and it was their first time kind of out on their own. So their parents were a little bit worried about them. They didn't know what an anime convention was. They thought they were just going to a hotel and they were going to be running around and getting dehydrated. So their parents brought them groceries for their room. And the groceries included, just your usual things, Pop-Tarts, bread, milk, eggs, a fridge full of meat. They had the kid, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I believe the kids said, we need some lunch meat, things like salami, some turkey, chicken. For some reason, the mom thought that meant a 12-pound frozen turkey breast. So,
Of course.
as kids do,
Has to be a parent.
they go through. You sometimes get arguments among kids over petty things, small things like someone took someone else's gray body paint, so they couldn't make a complete troll cosplay or something. I don't understand what the kids are into these days. All I know. The only thing that we don't know is if the turkey was thrown or dropped. but a 12-pound, fully frozen turkey made its way off of the balcony on the 8th floor of the Hyatt, and we discovered the turkeys cannot fly as it reaches terminal velocity. And if you remember that beautiful glass stairwell, there's a reason why there's 3 layers of glass. Because there used to be 2, and that turkey went through the first one and almost fully went through the second one, spiderwebbing from the ceiling. That was the only time in the history of that convention that entire atrium was silent.
Now, I was not there for this, but I do know someone who was, and it's a person I trust. And this part of the story, to me, is mind-blowing. Because when this happened, the bar was open. And the bartender was back there making my friend a Long Island iced tea. And the final step is, after the shake, you pour it into the cup. And he says, without missing a beat, it was, bum, 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 bam! Bum, 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 bum. What the fuck? True professional.
So you might have, last part of this, there's a one lingering bit about this. At MFF, you'll see the do not stand in front of the escalators. That's not for crowding purposes. That's because of fall hazards.
All right, thank you. Jake, since you came in a little bit late, we're going to talk about an incident that I think a lot of you know about. We're going to just give you it from another perspective. MFF a few years ago had a major incident. Now, most of us were just at the convention. We were let outside, and that's how we remember it. Jake, you had a bit of a different experience during the MFF chlorine incident. It is a horror. Here's the thing about convention war stories. Every one of these stories we are telling from our perspective. Some of these stories were horrific at the moment, but we are convention organizers. We do not have the luxury of dwelling on what happened. It is deal with it and move on. And when you do that, you have to find the comedy behind it. So without further ado, this is really fucked up. Continue, my friend.
So, I was at that particular MFF, and what was really a neat experience for me was I was given the opportunity to actually open for Uncle Kage's story hour and do some comedy because this gentleman decided that was a good idea. He got me into doing stand-up comedy, which I'm very grateful for. But that was one of my big breaks, so to speak, and the very fan of being able to do that. And that's a pretty big crowd in that room, and I was nervous. They said, "Hey, you got like 15 minutes," and I was like, "That's forever. That's a really long. You warned me.
I warned you.
And
it's hard.
I was like 15 minutes. Yeah, nah. And then I did my very first thing, and it's an eternity. So I spent a long time trying. Okay, I'm gonna build my set. I'm gonna say these jokes. 15 minutes. Well, what you're gonna learn early on is that you can do an hour set in 5 minutes. Because I did 15 minutes worth of material because I was so nervous in about 3. So this sets the scene of like, I'm panicking. This is my, I kind of bombed. I didn't do that well. And people thought it was funny, but I got dead air, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of give my signal of like, that's all I've got. I'm out of material. I'm on empty. Kage reads it. He's
There
like,
was
okay.
no signal. You just said that in the microphone.
I did. I was just like,
and I'm out. And
that's it.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, so thanks guys. So I sit back down. I'm in the front row. I'm wearing a very white, nice button-up shirt, and I'm just like, oh my god, that was terrible. I have never experienced a nosebleed that didn't involve physical interaction with either a fist or a blunt object to the face until that night. I still don't know to this day what caused it, but I'm sitting there being a nervous wreck after my set, right front row in a white shirt, and my nose starts to bleed. And I'm like, awesome, cool. And that night, if you guys are familiar with MFF, anywhere near main events, that the fursuiters, everybody's congregated around there. It's a complete crowd mess, right? So I've got this nosebleed. I'm running to the nearest bathroom. It is completely packed. So I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go clear across the hotel to where operations is the other side, to those bathrooms that are hardly ever used. So here I am walking with my nosebleed, go to the bathroom. I pick a stall, and I take care of the nosebleed and some other business that I thought, oh, I'm here. It's convenient, right?
Fair enough.
Opportunity. Yes, exactly. When nature calls at the most inappropriate times. So, of course, if you know the tradition of MFF at the time, which I hope this tradition does not continue on Saturday night near
Sacrifices?
No!
near midnight on a Saturday, there seems to be an alarming situation that happens, and
It's pretty regular.
yes, and now as a staffer of hotels, you're kind of like, again? Now, here, don't do what I did. I'm in the stall, and the fire alarm goes off, and I'm like, not gonna go anywhere. Let alone the fact that there is a fire alarm in this particular bathroom is right above my stall, and I'm in a stainless steel, coffin. So I'm like, no, I'm not. I have my pants around my ankles. I'm not. Yeah, no. This is my time.
This is my time.
This is my time. So, I'm sitting.
Good reference.
Yeah.
Good reference.
So I'm sitting here, going like, this alarm's going on for quite a while, but I'm not moving because I'm going on for quite a while as well. So.
What happened?
No, there's some things it's worth taking the time for. Okay? Some pit stops don't need to be that fast, okay?
I'm so sorry. Now I can't imagine anything but like little bud like, and then just running out. Like, what the hell is that? That's how he shits. That's just how it happens. Screams every time.
There's a reason they're small and dry. Without getting into the descriptor of the particular material involved, my point being is time's passing, and I'm like, I don't want to be involved with that mess, and I do what I need to do. And then I walk out of the stall, out of the bathroom, and I enter that's that side atrium that has the big dome. If you're familiar with the area, there's
Fishbowl.
The giant fishbowl, correct? So I walk out there, and it is like a scene from 28 Days. There are backpacks on the floor. There is dead silence. There's no one in the halls. And I am the classic Travolta, like. I'm like, okay. Now, mind you, I still have like this blob of tissue paper from my nose because it's still kind of bleeding. So I'm kind of doing this. I'm like, oh, this is kind of weird. I'm gonna head back to my room. I come around the corner. I come to that little hallway into the main lobby, and it was like a pack of dogs and a three-legged cat. I walk around the corner to gaze upon close to 40, 50 some firemen with my head like this with a nosebleed.
Oh my God.
Having no idea what's going on. Remember, this is a supposed chlorine incident with noxious gas, and I have a nosebleed.
And you had no idea.
And it was like a scene from Ghostbusters. All these people with equipment rushing at me at a hotel. And next thing I know, they're throwing me on a stretcher, gurney. Thank you. Now I'm going to give you a little context. Right now I can't see any of you. I have light sensitivity. My eyes don't dilate correctly, so I usually wear sunglasses. And the first thing they do is, I don't know why, they're putting that flashlight in your eyes for dilation. And they're like, "So where were you? What happened? What's going on?" I'm like, "I don't know what's going on. What? You tell me." And they sign up, and my eyes are not dilating. They're going crazy. And like, "Well, what happened?" "Well, I went on stage and I bombed." "What? You bombed?" "Bomb? No, wait, what?" And they are, next thing I know, I am seeing stuff blizz on by. And they're like, we've got one. Let's go. And they throw me outside and I don't know how long I was in there, but apparently like half of Chicago's EMS services are out there.
Yes, they were.
I mean, it was just like a coffee of lights, and I'm just like, and so they're going around going, "Yeah, there might be a bomb. This guy said there's a bomb." I was like, no, I just bombed on stage. "Oh my God, it was in the stage." "Where was it in the stage?" "It was at main events." "There's a bomb at main events." I'm like, what? I need to shut up. I clearly need to stop talking. Because I don't know what's going on, and I am clearly making this worse.
Yes,
Because they're starting me asking me questions that I don't have the answers to. Like, where were you? How many people were in the room? What would this sound like? I'm like, if you're talking about the sound that just happened about 10 minutes ago for me, I don't really want to describe. Where did the nosebleed happen for? And I'm like, because I did not do well on stage. And they're like, what are you talking about?
Nice.
So then I'm thrown into an ambulance, and they're like, "You're going to go to the hospital." I'm like, "No, I'm good. What happened?" They're like, "Well, there apparently was a..." Now, you gotta understand, they didn't know what was going on. Apparently a bomb attack. I'm like, okay, I don't think I need to go to the hospital. Well, you might have this, blah, 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 blah. And I refuse to go. But, so they're like, well, you definitely need to go, but you can rest here. And all of a sudden, all the EMTs left. I'm like, why would you, whatever, okay. So I'm sitting in this, and by the way, it's a huge ambulance. So I'm sitting there,
Ultra weight wagon.
right?
Ultra raid wagon.
So next thing I know, this other EMT comes into the ambulance and he's like, what are you here for? I'm like, oh, I had a nosebleed, which again, re-triggered this guy. What do you mean, where were you? I'm like, oh, I was inside there. You were just inside there? Yeah, they brought me out. You're that guy, oh my God. And he like restarts the entire process. Round 2, and the whole
Did
time
you
like,
tell him there was a bomb?
it was very tempting at this point. And so I was like, he's like, well, you gotta go to the hospital, blah, blah, we gotta report this. Like, I'm not gonna go, I'm totally fine. I had a nosebleed. I think I'm good. Well, how often do you have nosebleeds? I was like, how often do I have been punched? So, every day. How many conventions have I been to? And I think so they're like, well, we can't release you. You have to fill out this form, but we have to have a police officer say that you are denying medical services. And you can tell this particular gentleman who came up was the last guy to show up on scene. He is walking in like, what on earth? And he's like, is there like a dog convention? What's with the... And he's just asking the EMTs like, there's like a Noah's Ark play going on? Like, what is the deal? This guy, like, he clearly didn't get all the information. He literally showed up in the scene last, and they gave him that task. So he's like, so what were you doing? I was like, I was doing a comedy show. Oh, okay. How are you involved in this? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. He said, well, you said that there was a bomb threat. I'm like, I said no such thing. Well, you mentioned a bomb. I said I bombed on stage. He's like, well, it must have been really bad. if this is the reaction, how bad did you do?
Awesome.
Yeah, so
I found the hotel.
I didn't get back to my hotel room. Now I know everybody arrived at their hotel room late because I'm still stuck in an ambulance while some people are still being let into their rooms. By this point, it was like 4 hours later. The sun's starting to come up, and on the news they're talking about 21 people being taken to the hospital, or some large number, and then 3 hours later it was down to 20. Because they counted me as being one of the members. And what's funny is, then now my mom's calling, she sees us on the news, and she's calling every hospital for my name. It was, where's my son? So I've learned to, every time I come to this gentleman and or Pandez, who have been gracious to let me go on stage, if I don't feel like I do well, I start to go, oh man, that didn't go, I feel like I really did not as well as I thought I could. So
Very nice.
So that was one of my stories. The other one involving a particular car.
See, sometimes tragedy equals comedy without time at all. All right, we're going to switch over to one of my favorites. Out of context radio calls. That's a good one. Most conventions use radios. Those radios are used as best they can. Sometimes they cause more problems than they solve. Who has an out-of-context radio call? Des, go first.
From back when MCFC was at the Sheraton. Should we do something about the person juggling fire back on the patio?
No.
This is head of legal signing off radio.
Out of context, who's got one? Year one, no, you got one? Year one of First Squared? No, you know what? No. Year zero, this was the Thursday night of a convention that started on Friday. This is security to Alkali. Alkali here. Did you approve a rave in the basement? This is Alkali. Is there a rave in the basement? This is security. There is a rave in the basement. This is programming. I'm heading to the basement. Thank you for taking care of that. I'm not taking care of that. I'm joining. Out of context radio calls. Who's got one?
This is... Oh, I forget how that one starts.
Is it con store?
Yeah.
This is con store to operations.
This is operations.
Con store's out of poppers. Could you supply us with more?
This is con chair to con store.
This is con store. Go ahead.
Are you referring to the novelty popping discs?
This is con store. Yes, we are.
Please refer to them as novelty popping discs. And the other one, same con.
I can never remember the other one. Do it. No, this is con store to operations.
But no, it was
Put out the fire?
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
That one. This is programming to security. Has anyone put out the fire?
This is con chair. Did you mean the barbecue outside?
Yes, I did.
Please refer to it as the barbecue outside.
I haven't given context.
I do apologize. We have a lot to go through. I'm so sorry. I lost it. Oh, no. I hate it when I do that. Go ahead. You guys go. I lost it.
So I thought of them.
No more material.
I just died.
That's it. I'm good. Nosebleed start.
This is security to logistics. Logistics here. Why is there a pallet floating in the river? What does the pallet have on it? I'm not at liberty to discuss that over the radio. We got mad.
This is AV to security. Security, go ahead. Hey guys, I seem to have misplaced my radio. Did you guys happen to pick one up? Repeat that?
We have questions.
Go.
I had it in stereo. That was weird. On your mark, get set.
Go.
This is security to charity? This is charity. Go ahead. We have a half-naked charity bear laying on the operations table. Please advise. This is...
Con chair.
No, I'm sorry. I am really out of it, guys. My apologies. This is con chair going off radio. This is vice chair going off radio. This is programming going to operations. I'm forgetting the big one. I cannot remember it. Sorry, guys. If you have any more, hit it. That's the problem I'm having. Oh, wait a minute. I'm wrong. Problem solved.
Hey, keep some room.
That's not the right one. That ain't the
Alkaline. Oatmeal.
You think that's the only one?
All right. I'm obviously having some problems. I do apologize. We're going to go back over to stories because I can't think of the last one. And we have 2 more before we go to the charity story.
Okay.
Pandez. We're going to tell a classic one now. I'm sure some of you have heard this, but for anyone new, this is one of my all-time favorites. Hey, Pandez.
Yes.
Would you drink, motherfucker?
So sometimes you have conventions where we have the whole run of the hotel. And sometimes you do not. One year, our first year at the Sheraton for Indy FurCon, we shared the hotel space with a group of fraternity brothers. The two groups were trying to, the furries were just trying to enjoy themselves and stay out of the way of the frat boys. The frat boys were having none of it. They were causing problems and teasing and everything. And the furries were being just like, you know what, we're just going to ignore it. We're going to just roll it right off our backs. But it culminated, just problem. And at one point, some furs were just trying to get on the elevator because it's shared elevator space. And the frat boy was like, no, you may not get on this elevator. And the furries were like, what do you mean? They're like, nope, you're not allowed on. And as the doors were closing, one of the frat boys yelled, "You ain't Rosa Parks, you're not getting on this bus."
Wow. That is the proper reaction. Yeah.
So the board got together with the hotel liaison, a skinny, young African-American lady, Tanya. I love Tanya. I miss Tanya. And we were telling her, so we need to convey some issues that we're having with this other group, and we listed them all out, and it got to that last one, and I'm like hesitating because I'm like, I don't want to tell this story, but I need you to be aware of it. The last one was, telling them, you're not Rosa Parks, you're not getting on this bus.
Would you stand up to do this one? It's too good.
Her response, oh no, I was planning to. Yeah.
Okay,
this was her response.
Oh, hell no!
And she was gone like the Roadrunner. Like we were like, no, I'm fine. About 15 minutes later, there were signs up all over the hotel. Emergency meeting, all fraternity brothers in ballroom C, whatever it is. There were immediately no more problems of a negative nature between the two groups. No more teasing, no more aggravational issues. And then later that night, see, this year at the hotel at the Sheraton, all of our lobby space was on the second floor. And there's an escalator, and then there's just kind of a small bar area, the check-in area for the hotel, and this giant stone table. And some fraternity brothers were sitting drinking all on one side of the table. A couple of fursuiters came over and were just starting to mill about in the lobby, and I guess the fraternity brothers were like, sit down, have a drink. And they sat down and drink. And all of a sudden the fraternity brothers just started going, take it off, take it off, take it off, take it off. The fursuiters were like, okay, fine. Put them on, put them on, put them on, put them on. So the frat brothers were wearing the fursuit heads while the furries were in their bodysuits. And slowly the crowd starts to gather of both types. They had, as fraternities do, this odd celebrational chant song thing. I don't know the whole thing. I'm sure someone in the audience probably does, but no. And they would go, here's to our brother Johnny, here's to our brother, Yippee, here's to, whatever. And they would just pick random people. We'd be like, da 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 da, and they would do a chant, and then it would end with, and drink motherfucker, drink motherfucker, drink motherfucker, drink. And then they would drink from this giant ceremonial goblet. Tasty giant thing of booze. Now, none of the board members were aware that this was happening, because this was the night of the very first mistake. All of us were in a room watching a movie for charity. And we come out 2 hours later. Oh, that was great. We raised a certain amount of money for the charity. And suddenly, hundreds of people chanting, drink, motherfucker, drink. Off in the distance. Now, I was too drunk, but this is what was relayed to me from our head of finance, who went, I shall investigate. And they walk out, and they turn around the corner, and they see the giant group of furries and fraternity brothers across from each other, as if there's about to be like a dance-off or a fight. But no, they're just drinking and having fun, and chanting and swearing and whatever. And he's so confused, because it's like, the door side should not be allowing this. And he looks over, and there, our operations room had a tiny balcony where you could stand and watch the lobby from the other side of the floor. And he goes, and the door side is like, and points to the hotel front desk. So The head of finance goes, trying to get the attention of the front desk people who are literally standing there going, oh, they're finally getting along, yeah. Gets their attention. It's fine, it's fine. They get on the radio, shh, it's fine. They're finally getting along. Let them drink, it's fine. Now, there is more to that story involving Kage, but I never know that part very well.
Oh, I can quickly regale you with that. At one point, while this is all going on, Uncle Kage, our dear and sainted Uncle Kage, is walking past with their convention gift from IFC. The convention gift from IFC is a chalice about this big. We used to present it to them every year in a ceremony at opening ceremonies with full regalia, a march down the aisle of opening ceremonies to give him this giant chalice. So what does he do with it? He walks up to everyone drinking, taking their drinks of beer, their drinks of wine, their drinks of tequila. He has a bottle of wine in a chalice, and he goes, amateurs, and walks away. And the frat boy said, who was that old fuck? And without missing a beat, I wish I knew who said it, somebody goes, that's our uncle.
This seems like the coolest version of West Side Story I've ever heard.
Right? All right, we have time for at least two more. One of them we would like to be a charity story. So I'm going to tell a story. After that, if we have time, we do have more. But to finish it off, there will be a segment where we ask you to turn off cameras. But for right now, you're fine. I'm going to throw the hat out there to remind you what we are doing this for. This is for Detroit Hive. They are a group that is going around to vacant lots in Detroit and putting in beehives. These bees are cross-pollinating all throughout Detroit. They are making the air cleaner to breathe. They are bees, which are slowly becoming an endangered species. What a wonderful thing, and I'm so glad that this convention is trying something a little different. If you can give, give. And if you can't, do not worry about it. We are furries. The buzz is going to be that they are taken care of. So guys, thank you so much for all of your help.
The charity
pollinate
cheers
the
is
word.
the sweetest nectar.
Pollinate the world. All right, well, we're going to go back to a story in the way back. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this if you've ever been to this panel before, and if you haven't, I'm sorry for everything I'm going to screw up because I haven't told it in a long time. But I also haven't seen my friend Pandez in over a year. And I just want to go back to one of the first times we met. The first MST3K, the original Mystery Science Theater Furry Edition 3000. Because we had an idea. Wouldn't it be fun to get a panel of us up there making fun of a movie? This will be a great time. We can show a movie. What's a really bad movie to watch? Hey guys, what's a really bad movie to watch?
Battlefield Earth.
Sounds great! That movie should be garbage, flaming garbage. We should all watch it, come up with lines, and then do the panel. And that's what we told Des. Des, how many times did you watch it?
3 before the panel.
Before, that's so good. He was so prepared. Hey, Des, I don't remember. How many times did I watch it?
0.
Yeah, fuck that movie. I watched 5 minutes. I'm like, nah, I'm better at improv. I don't want to see this twice. So we show up to the panel. We tell Des this. He's like, you assholes. We're like, yeah. But then something magical happened. Because it's furry. We didn't need to say shit. Everyone in the audience behind us is just screaming at this horrible movie. They are going so hard into it that the table is now leaning in like, guys, we don't need to do anything. Do you want to just drink? And I said, yes. But we did feel bad. That's not right. We set up a panel. People are having a good time, and you never get in the way of a good time. But you can get in the way of charity. Like, hey guys, I love drinking games. Do you love drinking games? They went bleh because they were drunk. Why don't you guys create rules? create rules for money and we'll drink when those rules come up. And Des is like, that's a great idea. And our friend Roxas, I believe con-chairman.
He was vice chair at the time.
Chair. Our friend Roxas, the vice chair, goes, no. Because Roxas was the only one who looked at the table. We're about to do drinking games with a bottle of tequila, a bottle of, peppermint schnapps, a bottle of Malibu rum, and an unlabeled bottle that we have no idea what's in it.
Malort's.
It was not Malort's. Thank God.
It could have been Windex. I don't know.
It could have been Windex. The game starts, the rules come pouring in, we start making money hand over fist. Why? Because we're following the rules and we are getting out of hand until someone came up with center screen wipe. Every time there's a center screen wipe, drink. And I'm like, center screen, we have to determine how much that's worth. Des had seen the movie, like, Des, is there a lot of center screen wipes? I was like, I want to go home. So I'm like, sure. For $20, this guy got to put in the rule center screen wipe. Allow me to describe you a scene from Battlestar Earth.
Battlefield Earth.
Thank you. Father, I remember our youth, center screen wipe. I am your father and I might die in the past, center screen wipe. I am dead, man, center screen wipe. Remember when I died, center screen wipe, death, done. And they kept up.
I followed the rules.
Every rule. Movie is over. We are so happy. We have over $1,000 for charity on a panel that wasn't supposed to be a charity panel. We are elated. We are on cloud 9. He is on the table. We realize there's a problem. And thank you all for being here. Get out! So we get everyone out of the room. And we go over to our friend Pandez like, hey, Des, you want to go back to the room? And we start to stand him up. And Pandez shoos us away. Flailing goes, wait a minute. Boom! Table, you held all of our drinks for 2 hours. I could never do what you do because my back isn't flat. Table, I love you. Like, oh, shit! Des, we gotta go! So we get him up past the table, and as he's getting up, he hits the chair with the back of his legs, and the chair goes back very quickly. He goes, and throws us away from him. Goes to the chair, I farted in you like 4 times. You took my shit like no one else. Okay. We get him to the door. His hands go out. Bam. Door, you kept the riff-raff out. Hallway, he's thanking potted plants for being at the convention. There were non-furries. He is thanking them for being such great patrons and then gets the convention name wrong. We get him to the elevator. Inside the elevator, he just hits floor number, I think it was 12. Like, what are you doing? He's like, I haven't seen anyone go to 12. It's neglected.
I'm gonna add just a little bit to that. As somebody who's had the pleasure of escorting Des, it's an adventure. This wasn't the first time. It may not be the last, but it's an adventure.
Because we did get them upstairs. We got them to their room. Right outside the room, Des went Super Saiyan. We had one person on either side of my friend, and he went... A huge yellow flame erupted from him because he knocked us away and reached out and laid his hand on the fire alarm. We froze. And Pandez says, fire alarm, you get a lot of shit because of what we do. Even I'm not that dumb and stumbled into his room.
That's still one of my favorites.
That story is not embellished in any fashion. It is 100% accurate.
It's one of my favorite nights in the fandom. That being said, did I do it right?
You're at 4:31.
It is 4:31.
For how long is yours?
Like 5 minutes.
5 minutes? AV, do we have time for a 5-minute charity story? I'm getting a thumbs up, so before we end this, we do have a charity story. I'm going to end the panel. If you would like to hear this, please stick around. So first off, I would like to thank Cryo, Jake the Bunny, Fur, and Pandez. My name is Elfline. This has been Convention-Goers Story. I promised the person doing the panel at 6:30 in secondary events, there's something called Sloshing for Answers, where apparently Sigma has done a shit ton of research on me and will be making fun of me in front of a bunch of people while I have to drink. So there, I plugged it for you, Sigma.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm going to die. Yeah. Here's how this one works, and I'm just going to be 100% serious for a second. You have all been very respectful of this. The story, I do apologize, one moment, can I have your attention? The story we're about to tell is a story that we would like to keep to this room, that is why it's the charity story. If you have any kind of recording gear, please do me a favor and turn it off right now. It has never been a problem in the past, and I don't think it'll ever be a problem in the future. We will continue to do this until it becomes one. We don't want these stories getting out because somebody wouldn't like that. So if you would do me this kindness, please turn off all recording equipment and give a huge round of applause to our charity story for this segment. Fur. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, please.
Silver Gato Man, he bought me a coffee. Silver Gato Man, here is the song for thee. He likes to video all the panels at the cons. You should go and watch them whether they are short or long. Silver Gato Man, you video that's not a jibe. All of you go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe.